Hello, this is Riley Porter with Seattle Sumo. You are listening to a commentary track for the 1964 Natsu Basho, that is the May contest. The video coverage for this tournament can be found on the Japan Sumo Association's YouTube channel. There will be a link to that below, and accessed with a $9 monthly membership. As usual, to sync up the audio commentary with the video coverage, I will count backwards from 3, 2, 1. As I hit the N in 1, I will click play on the video coverage. You'll do the same, and we'll be in sync for the day's action. So without any further ado, I will start the countdown and get us going. 3, 2, 1. Futabayama, Taiho, Chiyonofuji, Grand Sumo Archive Basho. Day 10, closing out the second third of the tournament. Here's Shinyu Maku, brand new to the top division, Kitano Kuni, up against Jiryo visitor Matsumaeyama. They're relatively close in rank despite being in different divisions. Not quite in sync there. The head-to-head is 2-0 in Matsumaeyama's favor. Should give him some confidence going to today's bout. Once again, not quite in sync there. Third time's the charm. And a pushing start, an exchange of tsupari between the two, but driving from a good angle is Matsumaeyama. Kitano Kuni continues to slap around, but he's moving backwards. Dodging to the side, Matsumaeyama circles around, almost loses his footing, but Kitano Kuni unfortunately fails to follow up on his attack. I think he thought that Matsumaeyama was going to fly out, but Matsumaeyama, excellent balance, bounced back and finished off Kitano Kuni to eke out his fourth win, putting Kitano Kuni on 5-5. So Matsumaeyama, never been in the top division before, has a chance for promotion if he gets a Kachikoshi this time. Here's Tsune Nishiki, Matsumaeyama's stablemate, up against Wakatendyu. The head-to-head is 5-1 in Tsune Nishiki's favor. Tsune Nishiki starts with pushing, hits the throat on the chest. Closing the distance is Wakatendyu. He's inside left. Tsune Nishiki, he takes the shallow left, but Wakatendyu grabs the wrist and holds that at bay. A wild swing from Tsune Nishiki, but that didn't work out for him. And finally, at the last second, a lifting attempt. Backward pivot throw from Tsune Nishiki, but the Gyoji gives it to Wakatendyu. And I don't see any objection from the ringside judges here. So it looks like that goes the way of Wakatendyu. Well, he beat the odds today, picks up his fifth win. Tsune Nishiki, meanwhile, falls to his seventh loss. One more is Makekoshi, a losing record. Still doing better than the last Basho, is Tsune Nishiki. Here's Tsune Nishiki's stablemate, Kane no Hana, another Day-1 Umi man, up against Iwakaze, who has a chance to clinch his Kachikoshi today. Low as usual is Iwakaze, but he doesn't quite dodge the tsupari. And then Kane no Hana closes the distance, grabs the belt, and crushes out Iwakaze Yoritaoshi. Kane no Hana moves to his fifth win. Iwakaze waiting on that Kachikoshi still. Coming into today was a 5-2 head-to-head in Iwakaze's favor. And Kane no Hana has now picked up his third win in their rivalry. So a good mark for today for Kane no Hana. Should give him some confidence moving forward. Here's Wakachichibu in good form this Basho. He's really come to life. He's up against Day-1 Ishiki. They've had 17 meetings, and 10 of them have gone the way of Wakachichibu. Relatively even start. They're keeping each other at bay. Hips pulled back. Wakachichibu, I think, wants to close the distance. He starts by locking up an arm there. Tries to worm his way in with the left. Makes grab for the outside right, but Day-1 Ishiki is doing pretty well to defend himself here. Day-1 Ishiki looks like he would like to get that inside left himself. Day-1 Ishiki is a very good defensive wrestler. He's been in pretty good shape too as of late. Waiting, working patiently are these two. Wakachichibu still wants that inside left. He goes belly to belly. Good Gaburi action from Wakachichibu. He's in gear now, and he brings Dewan Ishiki out of the ring, and that's Kachikoshi for Wakachichibu. That's his 8th win in 10 days. Really in excellent shape, especially compared to his performances earlier this year. So it's Wakachichibu's 11th win over Dewan Ishiki in 18 meetings. And this Dikishi retains some hope still for perhaps taking the Emperor's Cup. He's a point behind the leader group, or I should say 2 points behind Kashiwado. Kashiwado is still yet to take a loss. Here's Wakanami. Has a chance for Kachikoshi today himself. He's up against Kotozakura, who is struggling a little bit, not quite completely recovered from his injury. Bit of a slap to open things up from Kotozakura, but they're belt to belt now. This should work in Wakanami's favor. If he can get in deep enough, he should get to lifting. Kotozakura, he's a competent belt fighter, but I think he generally prefers things open if possible. Outside leg trip from Wakanami, and that'll do. Sorogake win for Wakanami. He picks up his 8th. So doing very, very well for himself is this division's lightest Dikishi, the pint-sized power lifter, Wakanami. And he puts Kotozakura on his 7th loss. So Kotozakura, one step from Makekoshi and leaving the top division. It's been a very turbulent year for Sarakatake's top Dikishi. So it goes for a Dikishi that's injured. Here's Tamanoshima, a man on the rise up against Kainoyama. This is their first time meeting, Kainoyama being a veteran of this division. Been around for a little while. Tsupari to begin from Tamanoshima, but Kainoyama closes the distance, and double inside, Tamanoshima's in trouble and is finished. Thusly, Yorikiri. So Kainoyama, pretty convincing win. Oh, but the camera's stuck on Tamanoshima here. So does that mean that Tamanoshima got the nod from the Gyoji? Well, I think that he did. Therefore, the cameraman picked that angle, but there's been an objection by the judges, and I can see why. It looked like, to me, very much, that Kainoyama had him. But they're looking at the sand, the thin layer of sand around the edge of the ring, which marks who steps out first. That's the purpose of it. That little layer of sand actually is called the Janome, the snake's eyes. It's going to be a rematch. Torinaoshi, too close to call. Perhaps Kainoyama got a little sloppy with his footwork and stepped out at the same time he finished Tamanoshima. Let's see what happens on the redo. Kainoyama, I think, stalling a little here. He's a pretty technical Dikishi, might be in his own head a bit. Let's see. And pushing again to start is Tamanoshima. Kainoyama tries to cut inside for that double inside to repeat the last bout, but Tamanoshima is caught on, so he's protecting himself. Tamanoshima is over the top with the right, and that'll do it. It's an Uwate Nage overarm throw from Tamanoshima. Very powerful stuff. Tamanoshima, a really very excellent belt fighter. Great energy. Very strong. Dynamic thrower. So he's looking set to continue improving his rank. He's made his division debut in the last tournament. So he's at his career highest. Here's Waka Naruto up against Waka Haguro. It's a 2-1 head-to-head in Waka Naruto's favor. Waka Haguro's a pusher. Waka Naruto's a belt fighter. Waka Haguro gets to pushing, but Waka Naruto locks up the arms and is swinging about. Waka Haguro's got his back to the edge and steps over. I think they'll just call that for Yorikiri or Oshidashi. Though it certainly seemed to me that the leverage was definitely coming out of that arm lock. I don't know if you could exactly call it a kotenage if he doesn't topple the man, but who's to say? In any event, Waka Naruto moves to his 4th win, and Waka Haguro his 7th loss. One more is Makekoshi for the former Ozeki. Really on the downward slide. Here's Waka no Kuni. He's up against Haguro Gawa. They have a very even head-to-head. It's 3-3. Haguro Gawa gets the front of the belt, works his way deep inside left. A little bit of a swing, and now he's pressing on the edge. Finishes Waka no Kuni Yorikiri. Seemed like a relatively easy one for Haguro Gawa. Not exactly the even keel that their head-to-head indicates, but Dikishi, their performance depends on the day. And today, Haguro Ogawa was really in it, and Wakanokuni not so much. Haguro Ogawa evens up his score 5-5. He has a chance for his first Kachikoshi in a little while, if he can keep up this pace. Here's Haguro Yama, longtime veteran up against Kitano Fuji, a rising star. They've only had 2 meetings, both this year, and Kitano Fuji's won both of them. Haguro Yama definitely lagging a little behind Kitano Fuji on the Tachi-ai there. Kitano Fuji's going to want to explode out. Haguro Yama's going to want to avoid getting overwhelmed. You can see how eager Kitano Fuji is to start here. Haguro Yama, he's pretty strong on the belt. If he can just withstand the first few seconds of the bout, he has a pretty good chance. A little bit of a slap to the face to open things up from Haguro Yama. Struggling with the grips there. Kitano Fuji's inside left, so is Haguro Yama. A little bit of a lifting maneuver from Kitano Fuji, and then he presses out Haguro Yama Yoritaoshi, crush out. Well, Haguro Yama, not too surprisingly, did his best to fluster the opening charge of Kitano Fuji, shooting right for the face, but Kitano Fuji, he's strong whether or not he can blast out. That is to say, finish things on the Tachi-ai. He's still capable of winning a match that's a little more prolonged. So Kitano Fuji moves to his 7th win, one more as Kachikoshi. Here's Fusanishiki, a pusher up against Sawa Hikari, a pretty rough and ready fighter, a young rising star from Tokitsukaze stable. It's a 2-0 head-to-head in Sawa Hikari's favor. Not quite ready to go there. I'll try again. Fusanishiki's going to want to keep the distance here. Not let Sawa Hikari get inside on him. I think Sawa Hikari will come out guns blazing. And a head-bonking start. Fusanishiki is pushing pretty hard. He wants to finish things quickly. He keeps up the pressure, and Sawa Hikari tries he might to cut inside, is overwhelmed, runs out of room. Oshidashi victory for Fusanishiki. He moves to his 6th win, doing pretty well for himself. Sawa Hikari, meanwhile, falls to 5-5. And Fusanishiki, first time in 3 attempts, finally beats Sawa Hikari. So, nice little achievement. Good win today for Fusanishiki. We're at the halfway mark of the top division action, so the Shinpan, the ringside judges, are shuffling out. The Obidashi are watering the sand, the clay, making everything a little neat. As the action of the day draws on, the dohyo gets a little worn out, a little messier, and they want to keep things relatively uniform, especially that outer ring of sand, so they can keep marking who's coming out first. Here's Toyokuni. He's in a bad way. One more loss is Makekoshi. He's up against Tochiyo Yama. Toyokuni's going to want to keep the distance. Open up with some thrusting. Tochiyo Yama, a bit more prone to belt fighting. It's a 2-1 head-to-head in Toyokuni's favor. But we're having a little trouble getting synced up on the Tachi-ai. And Toyokuni keeps it open for the moment, but Tochiyo Yama drops his hips, pushes up on the chest, and finishes things Oshidashi. Well, despite protecting his belt, Toyokuni just did not have the forward driving power to really stick in that match. That's his 8th loss. That's Makekoshi, a losing score, and we're only 2/3 through the basho. So Toyokuni ailing, Tochiyo Yama prevailing. A little bit of a rhyme there. He moves to his 5th win. Even score coming out of today, 5-5. Things could go either way for him, but good odds of winning. Here's Fujinishiki up against Tsurugamine. It's a 9-5 head-to-head in Tsurugamine's favor. He'll want to close the distance and work for a double inside grip. Fujinishiki want to keep to pushing. Outside right for Tsurugamine. Fujinishiki's in trouble, but he's driving forward pretty powerfully and finishes Tsurugamine thusly Yorikiri. Well, that just goes to show, even if you're a pusher, if you can't quite get your hand placement the way that you want, you can still count on your lower body, as all sumo wrestlers do, to come through on the match for you. So, nicely done there from Fujinishiki. Good dayashi, consistent forward movement. He picks up his 4th win. Tsurugamine, his 6th loss. Now, here's Aono Sato. Whoa, he's on 7 losses. 1 more is Makekoshi. He's up against Kiyokuni. It's their first time meeting, believe it or not. Kiyokuni's relatively new to the division. Kiyokuni tries to cut him with the right. Not having a lot of luck here. Aono Sato, he's got an inside right. He tries for a bit of a throw, but doesn't get very far. Kiyokuni's driving in, pushing up on the chest there, and finishes things yorikiri. Now, Kiyokuni looked a little stronger there, that's to be sure. He comes out ahead in his first time meeting with Aono Sato. Aono Sato picks up his 8th loss. That's Makekoshi. Well, Kiyokuni picks up his 4th win, though he isn't doing too much better than Aono Sato. They were only a difference of 1 loss coming into today, so Kiyokuni still has a long ways to go before he can get his Kachikoshi and breathe a sigh of relief. We'll see if that day ever comes in this basho. Here's Wakamiyama Shinkomosubi, struggling a bit at this high rank up against Myobudani. They've had 1 meeting, and Myobudani won it. Let's see if Wakamiyama can even things up today. Ooh, a Kachiage from Myobudani swings up with the forearm into Wakamiyama's face. And I was going over the top. It's a double outside grip right around the knot of Takamiyama's belt. Wakamiyama's belt. Wakamiyama has a deep double inside. Well, Myobudani is known for his lifting power, but Wakamiyama, I would not be horribly shocked to see him work on some lifting of his own. A double inside grip's pretty good for that. Myobudani shows him how it's done, though. Yeah, that's something else. Those back muscles of his are absolute steel. Myobudani defies expectations. You look at the man, you wouldn't expect it, but there he goes. That's his 4th win, and he puts Wakamiyama on the back foot. 3-7 for the Shinkomosubi. 1 more loss is Makekoshi. He'll have to come back down from Sanyaku. Very young man, though, got a lot ahead of him, so yeah, wouldn't hurt him too much. Here's Maedagawa. He's already got his Makekoshi. His only win so far has been against Taiho. And here's Daigo, who also has his Makekoshi. He'll be coming down from Sekiwake. Hard charge from Maedagawa, but Daigo makes all the going. Maedagawa stops him up here. He's crunched down. Oh, the Gyoji looked like he wanted to adjust Maedagawa's hand placement there, but didn't make it quite in time. Doesn't really matter either way. Daigo dumps him out outside the ring and picks up his 2nd win. So Maedagawa, things are going pretty terribly, but not as much heartbreak as Daigo, I'm sure, who was maybe hoping to challenge for Ozeki this basho. It is true that Daigo has in fact gotten married between this tournament and the last one to Wakanohana's sister, so it would seem that perhaps his marriage ceremony is in part to blame for his slacking form in this basho. Meanwhile, here's Shinsekiwake Kairyu-yama against Hirokawa. Kairyu-yama works to get the shallow of the belt. Hirokawa's backpedaling, trying to keep some distance, and finally pulls down Kairyu-yama. Hataki Komi, slapdown victory for Hirokawa. So they have an even score coming out today. They're both 4-6. The head-to-head coming into today was 2-0 in Kairyu-yama's favor. So Hirokawa picks up his 1st win in 3 meetings against Kairyu-yama. Not doing too bad for himself. Hirokawa, new to the Komosubi rank, fighting for Miyagino stable. He's our top Dikishi this tournament. Him and Myobudani, of course, very close in rank and from the same stable. Here's Oginohana, not doing nearly as well as the last basho. He's only got 3 wins, but he's up against Ozeki Kitabayama, who's taken 3 consecutive losses coming into today after opening with 6 straight wins. So very uneven for the Ozeki. Kitabayama, he wanted that outside right, didn't quite get it, but keeps moving forward. Now he's got the inside right, and Oginohana's already stepped out. That's Yorikiri. Well, more or less one-way traffic. Could have been a little smoother, perhaps, but Kitabayama gets back on track, moves to his 7th win. 1 more will be Kachikoshi. That'll take a little bit of pressure off as he comes into the final stretch here and has to face his toughest slate of opponents. Kitsukaze's top man, looking fairly on form. And here's the next man on the totem pole, the Tokitsukaze totem pole just below Kitabayama, is Yutakayama. who has as many losses as Kitabayama, but spread them out a bit more over the tournament, up against Yokozuna Tochinoumi. It's an 8-4 head-to-head in Tochinomi's favor. And very quick off the mark is Tochinoumi. He moves inside with the left and the right. Looks like a Morozashi for the Yokozuna. Angling himself to protect his belt. Yutakayama can't get any purchase, but he swings around the Yokozuna. Brings him right back to the edge and crushes him out. Yoritaoshi. Well, very unfortunate result for the Yokozuna. Oh, but he's mistaken, and so am I. It looks like he's been given the win. Why that is, I couldn't say, but if I had to guess, it would be that Yutakayama inadvertently stepped out somewhere in the frenzy there on the ring's edge. Blinking, you'll miss it, right? Tochinoumi, though, does move to his 9th win. He keeps pace for challenging for the cup. He's only 1 point behind Kashiwado. So if Kashiwado loses today, then Tochinoumi moves into pole position. Speaking of, here is Kashiwado. 9 straight wins. He's the leader right now. And he's up against one of the runner-ups at the moment, Tochi Hikari. They've had 21 meetings to date, and Kashiwado has won 15 of them. Kashiwado will want to close the distance, get that shallow left, and just move out. He gets the shallow left, he gets moving forward, and there it is. Kashiwado, 10 straight wins from the opening day. Not too different from the last Basho, only this time he doesn't have Taiho keeping pace with him. He is all on his own here in the front. Kashiwado, this could be his opportunity for his 3rd Yusho. Finally, close a bit of the gap there in terms of his cup count relative to rival Taiho's. Tochi Hikari, meanwhile, falls to his 2nd loss. Here's Sadanoyama. If he gets a win today, that's his Kachikoshi winning record. But his opponent today, Taiho, has dominated their head-to-heads. They've had 16 meetings on the ring, not counting default wins, and Taiho has come out ahead 15 of those times. 15 out of 16 looks pretty good. A hard charge from Sadanoyama. Tries to move on with the outside left, but Taiho's got the handle on him. Taiho swinging about with that outside left of his own. Worms his way in with the right. Yotsuzuma, all 4 hands are on. Sadanoyama gets to lifting and he moves forward. Taiho catches himself on the edge. And he reverses things. He gets to driving and finishes Sadanoyama Yorikiri. Ooh, a little bit of danger for the Yokozuna. That's been the way it's gone this whole Basho, however. Taiho not looking as indomitable as the last couple tournaments, but nonetheless gets his Kachikoshi. He's still only on 2 losses. He's held to a pretty high standard, but he is doing well. Sadanoyama, meanwhile, falls to 7-3. Still waiting on that winning record. Well, the leader group is tightening. Looks like it's between Kashiwado and Tochinoumi. We'll see which one of them comes out ahead. Thank you for joining me.